girl. My mother's hardworkingness made me possible. I'm sure we have many, many people here who recognize that how hardworking their mothers were. And as I thought about my mother, I realized, my goodness, she was so hardworking that she allowed me to do these things that made me who I am today. So thank you, my mother. Now, this new poem, another poem, is called A Mother's Heart. You know, there's a secret that people never tell you about becoming a mother. And I'm going to release that secret to the world through this poem. I couldn't believe the magic of being a mother. So this is about me being a mother. It's about all of you becoming mothers. I want to take you back to the moment when you became a mother. And I want you to remember with me, a mother's heart. When I gave birth to my son, I gave birth to my heart, full and streaming with love. God gave him to me as my very own gift, an unblemished soul to adore. When my son came to me, my heart opened wide, spewing love all over the place. I took to wearing a bib to wipe splatters of bliss from the faces of strangers amazed. When my child was born, I sizzled, I sparked, and instantly burst into flames. I bestrode with a jug of red wine, dousing love flames that set whole rooms ablaze. When my son came to be, I grew wings. I fly off now and then to frolic and frisk with clouds high above the boughs of tall trees. When my son came to be, I grew wings. And for all of you who grew wings when your children were born, this is a tribute to you, the mother. Thank you. I hand it over back to you, Lorraine.
Oh, wow. Wow. Amazing. Thank you very much, Sitawa. You have a way of bringing everything to life. Thank you so very much. I hope everybody has enjoyed that amazing session with Sitawa Namwale. Thank you, Sitawa. Next, I introduce yet another powerhouse. I feel very privileged. I wish my mom was logged in so that I can say, Mama, I made it. You know, and I call all these people my friends. I truly am humbled to introduce Renee Ngamau. Renee is an amazing lady who is doing amazing work, you know, be it fighting for the rights of women, children, and the people in our society. She's often behind bars, more often than not these days. And I honor and salute Renee for honoring Elle this afternoon and taking on and saying she will be our moderator for this afternoon. Put your hands together and let's welcome Renee Ngamau. Karibu sana, Renee.
Thank you so very much. I am honored to be here and very excited. I want us to start, if we may, with just a moment of reflection for our mothers. For those who, like me, have lost their mom or whose mom has gained angel wings, I invite you to just take a moment of silence in remembrance of her. Thank you. Thank you. So welcome to this program today. It's a packed and exciting program as we celebrate our mothers who have gained their angel wings. And if your mother is anything like mine, then you know that the fact that she's gained her angel wings doesn't mean that she's not looking over you. probably yelling at you, saying, pull up, clean up, straighten up, fly right. But also, most importantly, is perhaps just interceding on our behalf, wherever it is. My mother gained her angel wings last year on Easter Sunday after a brave and hard fight for 4 years with breast cancer. And I honor the fact that she may have transitioned, but all she's done is turned the chain, the link in the chain that is our family, into a golden one, into one of light, into one that is a lot more ethereal. But I like to think that it can never be broken. And so I want to start immediately by introducing our next guest and speaker. Our speaker is very well known to us. Dr. Wale Akinyemi is a very renowned speaker, a chief transformation officer. But really what I wanted to share was something that he tweeted this morning. Yes, Dr. Wale, I do follow you on Twitter. And he said, his mom once said to him, when you take the egg that a chicken lays, it doesn't cry, it lays more eggs. There are many eggs in you, Wale. Keep laying them. And those are the words he attributes to his mother in 1989, at the beginning of his career, when his research was stolen. And he obeyed, and clearly he's been laying them since. I'm certainly hoping that that tweet is from you and not a different person with your name. But I just thought, what a beautiful, beautiful thing for a parent to be saying to a son right at the start. And so without further ado, and for the next 5 minutes on the subject of losing a mother, Dr. Wale Akinyemi, welcome.
Thank you so very much, Renee. My goodness. So now what am I going to say? I had planned how I was going to launch that this afternoon.
You have many more eggs in you.
Touche. Well, first of all, I want to thank my friend Lorraine. This is one of the most creative things I've been a part of. I've seen it. It's amazing. And it takes a lot of guts to step out and just have an event like this. So Lorraine, well done. Now that Renee has taken my first story, so let me take another story. My mom. I was a little kid growing up in England, and I was going to this school. And one day there was this boy in my school, a white boy, who looked at me and said I had a big head. And then he said I was a Pakistani bee. So those are combined insults, a Pakistani bee with a big head. Now, I was a little kid. I didn't know what a Pakistani bee was or whatever that was. So I went home to my mom and I was crying. Ooh, ooh. So my mom, typical Niger mother, you know, she said, come. I went to her, I said, are you a Pakistani? Are you a bee? Then I didn't see it coming. It just came. So why are you behaving in a manner likely to suggest he might be telling the truth? Now, next time anybody says you have a big head, you tell them your head is full of brains. And since that day, I have been telling people my head is full of brains. And somehow I've written 18 books. Somehow people seem to think that I have a little bit of substance in my head. But everything started with my mom slapping me a number of times when I was a little boy in England. And for that, I will never forget, you know, because those are the kind of things that shaped me. And losing a mom is not easy. My mom died in 1998. And I tell you what, for many years after that, on the 4th of November, I would literally go into a state of depression because memories never travel alone, you know. And so every time I remembered her, there was the emotions that went on with that. But one of the ways that I have gotten over it, and I don't think one really gets over it, but one of the ways that that has helped me to manage this is to constantly think of these stories, of how she gave me confidence in my own brains. She gave me confidence even when I failed. She gave me confidence to start again and to keep laying eggs. And for that, I'll be forever grateful to my dear mom. I miss her so much. And one of my biggest regrets was that I would have loved for her to at least see some of the things we're doing today. She never read one of my books. That is painful. But hey, we keep laying the eggs. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I don't take it lightly. I'm grateful.
Wow, that's awesome. I think we'll have to keep our cameras on so that we can keep celebrating all of the nuggets that we're receiving today. And yes, indeed, she was quite right. You do have many, many eggs to lay and a lot of wisdom with it. And we celebrate your mother, Daktari. And also we celebrate the son that she bore and raised, indeed.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for each one of these, it's more nuggets than it is everything. And it's in celebration of our parents, particularly of our mothers who have now gained their angel wings. And so the next speaker or intervener that I want to introduce is a person whose mother I actually knew. And like Dr. Wale's mother, she did not have a distinction between the children that she had bore physically and the ones that were in her environment. Always want to correct us, to send us on the right track, to encourage us, and to really dig into and support our various talents. And that is why, of course, she would have a daughter like Nelly Odera, a son like Pastor Edwin Odera, and of course, Dr. Peter Odera. Pete, welcome. There's always
Dr.
that
Pete-
moment in Zoom when
here?
you're pressing here and there. Pete, we'll come back to you. I'm not sure I can see him. Lorraine, can you see Pete?
I'm actually looking for him, so maybe we could go to, as I call him.
Well, actually, while you do, how about we play a tribute to our moms? I think you've got a wonderful, wonderful tribute to some of the moms. And thank you to everyone who sent in photos and sent in their tributes, really celebrating our moms who have gained their angel wings and who I'm quite sure today are going, wow, they remember and they celebrate us. So we're really celebrating you, Lorraine, for doing this. And so as Lorraine just reaches out to Dr. Pete real quick, here's some of those celebrations that you sent in to us and that we recorded. Enjoy.
Overnight scenes, dinner and wine, Saturday girls. I was never in love, never had the time in my hustle and hurry world. Laughing myself to sleep, waking up lonely. I needed someone to hold me, oh. It's such a crazy old town, it can drag you down till you run out of dreams. So you party all night to the music and lights, but you don't know what happiness means. I was dancing in the dark with strangers, no love around me, when suddenly you found me, oh. Girl, you're every woman in the world to me. You're my fantasy, you're my reality. everything fine, that's what you are. So put your hand in mine, and together we'll climb as high as the highest star.
I'm living a lifetime in every minute that we're together, and I'm staying right here forever. Oh, oh, oh.
Girl, you're every woman in the world to me. You're my fantasy, you're my reality. Girl, you're every woman in the world to me. You're everything I need, you're everything to me. Oh, girl, you're every woman in the world to me. You're my fantasy, you're my reality. Girl, you're every woman.
Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Just the number of angels that we're surrounded by, and each one of them smiling down on us as they probably were in those photos. And may the memories that you see and this time be not just a time of sadness, but also a real time to remember the funny things about your mom. Those crazy things that she would do that you just thought forever, why on earth does mom do this? You know, the ones that you're now doing? Well, here is one. Our next speaker, her mother never stopped calling her mummy, even when she was a fully grown adult. And I wonder for her now, as a mother, does she call her own mom or her own daughter mummy, even as she is growing up? A really acclaimed speaker in and of her own right, a real celebration for us to have with her today, and a woman of great wisdom, Mildred Getenya, on the subject of Because Mom Was Here. Mildred, welcome.
You need to unmute, Mildred. Unmute.
Zoom Methalis.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, everyone who's joined in. Happy Mother's Day to all. Renee reminded me yesterday that I need to be put on a leash. When I start talking about mom, I will not stop. Therefore, I will go on to what I've written about mom, just to ensure Renee doesn't stop me at 5. Today, I will talk to you about what I learned from my mom with what I'm now referring to as Because Mom Was Here. Because Mom was here, I have become the person that I am. To many, I was Victoria's handbag, and oh my, didn't I dote on that phrase. To my siblings, we are Vickylets or Dingalets. We keep shifting between the two names. Mom, because mom was here, so much of who she was has molded me. I can share with so much confidence that mom was beautiful, selfless, humble. Her humility was on high level. Emotional expressions of laughter and cries were in full force. She was consistent, always the same, open and honest, full of humor. Oh, didn't we laugh at her stories, and these were many. She was godly, took time to go to church and take us with her, prayerful and constantly reminding us that there is a God. She was so relational. She took no relationship lightly. Mom was an extremely good cook. Didn't we enjoy the meals, the liver, the fish, chapati, even skuma wiki, the cake, peanuts, popcorn that became her emblem. She hosted and spoke of how we have to love people. She would say, you cannot live in this world alone. Learn to live with others. Life is not about things, it's about people. She was a celebrator. The parties in Buruburu became a thing for all of us. She celebrated each of our achievements and those of our friends. While dating my husband, he would ask, Mash, do you people have a party every weekend? As much I followed all what she did to the letter. I loved Joel Austin's introduction to his devotions. This is my Bible. I am what it says I am. I can do what it says I can do. I have what it says I have. If I could rewrite this, I would boldly say, I am my mother's child. I have what she said I should have, and I can do all she says I could do. To affirm this, my sisters often ask, Mash, you mean you still cook the way mom used to cook? Most of mom's people have friends, my husband, they still ask, Mash, you really took after your mom. Because mom was here, I love engaging people to our faults, Renee. I take relationships seriously. In other words, I connect deeply. Because mom was here, I love to celebrate every opportunity I get. For instance, I keep 25th a celebratory day, 25th of May, because it was the day mom died. This 25th will be no different. I will keep remembering mom in a special way. Because mom was here, I love hosting and have done this to the best of my knowledge. I do not hesitate to host whenever an opportunity presents itself, or I'll present the opportunity. My husband and child can attest to this. Because mom was here, I have love for children. God is humorous. He only gave me one. I have many children who I call mine. There's a running joke my son replays. Mom, sorry. Dad, my mother will one day get us arrested because of stealing a child, or a child will refuse to go home just because of her. Even after death, our home did not experience emptiness. I cannot remember when growing up, it was just us 5 kids. We always had others whom we knew as part of our family. Because mom was here, I believe I love, know, obey, and serve God the way it was nurtured in me. Mom's handwriting was neat. It was precise, clear. And because she was here, I can take pride in my writing. Because mom was here, I have a fine eye for cutlery and kitchen stuff. She missed no opportunity to add those to her collections. She would say, as a woman, you cannot borrow stuff from the neighbors to cook and serve, because visitors you must have. Mom was firm and quite the disciplinarian. She was principled and consistent. I remember fondly the expression, sitaki maneno ya ilikuwa hapa. Deal with things when they happen and do not wait to explain later. Because she was here, I'm a no-nonsense mother. Ask my son if you need proof. Mom was fully expressional, emotions of crying and laughter alike. Because mom was here, I make no apologies for my emotional expressions, and those are many. Because mom was here, I have learned how to be honest and open. We took so much time talking that dad would ask, Victoria, what is it you keep talking to this girl about? And I, on the other hand, would tell her about my dating experience with my boyfriend. She would say, Mommy, some of these things you cannot tell me. And we would laugh about it. Because mom was here, I'm the wife that I am. She was committed to her marriage, and she told me, you chose marriage, keep your honor to Victor. Issues of sulking were not entertained in our house. We have learned the hard way that people are different and can just sulk. In Victoria's house, this is a day given to you by God. How dare you sulk? There were no moments of such, and it was law not to sulk. Because mom was here, I have learned how to live with others. I now live with my mother-in-law who has dementia and needs to be handled delicately. We have created memories for her. And we celebrate moments with her, like allowing her to dance because she loves and it keeps her going. To mom, I say Happy Mother's Day. I have learned from different people. I have learned that people are different and may not have the kind of relationship that I shared with my mom. It is okay. I've learned in counseling that this behavior is a process of learning and relearning. Relate with others in your circles. Counseling has molded me. it is important to learn to communicate appropriately. Things will come out of your head as smoke from all different places. Get a good go-to person. Could be a relative or a friend. Choose wisely and learn to remove what could be toxic. Because of both my moms, I now dream of one day opening a dialysis centers or an elderly home-based care. Time will tell. I have enjoyed this session to tell you part of the story of my mom, because mom was here. Thank you.
Gosh, wow, let's celebrate her and your mom. Oh, how beautiful. Well, let me ask you, and I know that we have literally, we're transmitting around the world. We've got folks who have signed up from Australia, folks who have signed up from, wow, we've just got so many people from so many places, the UK, Canada, Karibuni, welcome to our celebration of our mums with wings, our mums in heaven. And I want to ask you to just put in the chat for everyone, what is different in your life because your mom was here? Just put name and one thing that was different. I'll try and pick a couple of them as we celebrate your mom. Thank you so much, Mash. That was just so absolutely powerful. And you can see it wasn't just for you. How many people are saying Auntie Victoria spoilt me? I remember her baking my cake for my 10th birthday. Your parties never ended. All sorts of things as we celebrate moms. And our next, I think our next, I don't know that I want to call him our next speaker or the next performance that is here is another incredible human being because his mother was here too. Hardly known to anyone as Peter. In fact, I think if anyone calls him Peter, they were probably in primary school with him. DJ Piñé has got, what can I say about you and about your mom? The amount of patience, the level of discipline, the singular focus, I might even say slight stubbornness, and a capacity that most people don't know about you to love and to care for others under extreme situations. I suspect very much must come from your mother. DJ Piñé, the floor is to you as you celebrate your mom and we celebrate with you. Oh, bless. Oh, bless. Piñé, allow me to say this about you. So I'm going to tell a bit of a story about you. Piñé started learning piano about 2-3 months ago now. As his gift to himself on his next 0 birthday. He's just had a big birthday. And one of his goals was to just play something for his mother. They never stop inspiring us, do they? These gorgeous, beautiful angels disguised as human beings called mums. And Jennifer Githu saying, I'm a powerful, confident woman because my mom was here. And President Anne Bogori, hello, Anne, saying I'm definitely a better mom due to the values that my mom inculcated in me. Keep sharing them. Let's celebrate moms. Let's celebrate the moms that have gained their angel wings, probably just graduated to make sure that now they can see all of us all the time and all the things we do. which is a bit worrying if I think about some of the things I do. Oh, bless. I want to invite Lorraine to just play out another tribute for our angel moms, and for you and us to just pay tribute to them and celebrate them before we go to our next speaker. Lorraine?
I would never let a tear fall from your eyes. No, 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 no. 'Cause everything you are to me, oh, I could never let you hurt inside. It means so much, and I'm so thankful that you're in my life. And I appreciate your love and all your sacrifice. Without you by my side, I never could survive. I wouldn't be the woman standing here before your eyes. You taught me strength and you gave me guidance. Whenever faith was lost, you were there to find it. And all because a mother's love is unconditional. With all my heart and all my soul, I wanna let you know that I thank you and I love you. And I will never place anyone above you. Said I thank you and I love you. And I will never ever place no one above you. You have given me life, and I just want you to know that you're the reason I'm here today. I will never let go. To everything that we share, and nothing can compare. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you, is what I'm saying. Yeah. See, I've been blessed to be raised by a woman so strong. 'Cause even when I did things wrong, you would show me just the way that I should carry on. You kept me safe and you protected me with all you had. And anytime I was in need, you gave your very last. Without you by my side, I never could survive. I wouldn't be the woman standing here before your eyes. You taught me strength and you gave me guidance. Whenever faith was lost, you were there to find it. And all because a mother's love is unconditional. With all my heart and all my soul, I wanna let you know that I thank you and I love you. And I will never place anyone above you. Said I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Lorraine. And I wonder what it is that you see when you see all of our angels who have graduated from mom to angel. I want to look and see a couple and read out just a couple more things that you've written about your moms. Margaret Kyoko, because mom was here, I've learned prayer, perseverance, not to give up in life, to smile and enjoy little things in life, to celebrate every milestone, to be patient. Wow. Because mom was here. Keep putting them in, your comments in the chat. What do you celebrate because your mom was here? Me? I think I'm a human rights defender because my mom was here. She was having none of those, somebody should do something about. Oh, that would have earned me Mama Wale's slaps. You know the ones that come, you're slapped from the ear and somehow it reaches the chin and it makes a sound akin to a chapo hitting you. Heart watch. You know, I want to celebrate. I want to celebrate moms, including those moms who are here with us now and who, not yet having transitioned, continue to remind us how blessed we are in the time that we are here. The next speaker today, wow. The next speaker today has a mother who is she's a typical explorer. She is the woman who, when nobody else is doing something, she'll be the first to do it and will do it with courage and will do it with a finality of thought and we'll do it with a feminine energy and ease that makes things look simple. Dare I tell a story about her, Julie? Before people were going to the UK to take on new roles, she did. She got on a plane and she went, and she found this new country, settled into it, and raised two of the most beautiful, beautiful daughters. And indeed, I suspect that very many things of our next speaker is because of who her mom is, not was, her mom is, especially the way in which they laugh. If you ever hear Julie's mother laugh and you hear Julie laugh, we don't need another DNA test. We don't even need to see them. It's exactly the same one. So a welcome to you, Julie Githiri-Goko, as you speak a little bit about dealing with grief. And incidentally, for everyone else, put also questions that you might have, comments that you might have in the chat, because we'll have an opportunity for you to interact with all of the speakers. So this is just a teaser moment before we come back. Julie, welcome.
Hi, Renee. Hi, Renee. Wow. I mean, even just hearing you describe my mom in such a way, she would be so touched to hear that. Yes, and she's currently in the UK. She's obviously with COVID things has kept her away from us here. We miss her deeply. So it's nice to hear you talk about her in such a fond way. Yes, she left Kenya at the age of 19 to go to the UK and do her midwifery, and she worked and lived there and retired there after so many years. And yes, I think there's a lot about who I am today that is because of her. You know, I was thinking about sort of even fond sort of stories this morning as I was sort of thinking about and preparing for this event and remembering.
Julie, allow me to interrupt you a little bit and ask that you just raise your volume a little bit so that we can hear you a bit better. I don't know if it's just me who's struggling, but just raise it a little bit.
Better now?
Your sound is quite low.
If you can hear her better, yes? Thumbs up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Excellent.
Is that a bit better?
Struggling a little bit as some are.
Is that a bit better? Oh, I hope you can hear me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take technology out. You know, sometimes. A bit better. Can you hear me?
Much, sir. Yes, and now just raise it to full volume.
It was the earphones. Yeah, it was the earphones.
Thank you. Go ahead.
It's not always on our side.
Yes. Yes, we can, Julie.
Yes, I was remembering this morning as I was sort of in preparation for today's event, and I was thinking of attributing a lot of my things like ironing. You know, I used to iron my mother's uniforms for work, and now I'm an avid ironer in this house. And I was telling the children how, because I have 3 children, and I was telling them how, you know, sleep doesn't go away as much as you struggle to wake up in the mornings. You know, my mother used to tell me when I was a teenager struggling with the same thing of getting up for school or college, she would tell me sleep doesn't go away. It comes back tonight. It will be back. So you can let it go and you can regain it again at night. So these are just some of the things which I have gone on to even share with my own children. But thank you for Lorraine for inviting me to speak a little bit on grief. And it's such a huge topic. It's such a huge loss. And to lose a mother, in fact, is one of the hardest, sorrowful, heartfelt things that somebody will go through in their entire life. You know, whether it's your mother that you lose or a child that you lose, you know, those are the most painful sorrow that can be felt from the loss. And when we think about whether it's a year ago, 6 years ago, 15 years ago, because our way of thinking and the way we deal with grief it really taps into our unconscious mind, that, and within that space, there isn't a sense of time. So as much as years may pass between the death of a mom, we will still feel the pain of it 10 years later. Even Dr. Elias talked about having lost his mother, and how when her anniversary is here, he feels depressed, because even though it was years ago, we still feel the pain as if it were yesterday. So it's to think about grief as a process, one that, as much as we would want to get to a place of acceptance, we accept it in our own ways. And acceptance doesn't mean that we get to a place and we can wake up and say, yay, we're okay, we are over that. We find a way of managing it. We find a way of coming to terms with it. And our way of managing and coming to terms with it will be very different. Some people will come to terms with it in a way that for others feels that they are very much in a state of grief and loss. When I work in a clinical space, I work with people who have grieved, whether it's the loss of a child, whether it's the loss of a parent or a partner. And they talk about it in words of, it feels so current and so raw, because it takes years to get to a place where that pain doesn't feel like shattered glass. It doesn't feel like it's really sort of surrounding you in your daily thoughts. It takes a long time. So we have to remember to be kind to ourselves. We have to remember that this is a process that, I was thinking about even the stages of grief. I think initially there were 5, but now there's like 10. And I just want to sort of just say them, but not necessarily go into detail of them. It starts with shock. It starts with this emotional release and outpouring of the pain and the emotion of it, then can move into this sort of place of depression and isolation, and wanting to just exclude and move away from people, because it's difficult to connect with or to be with somebody who understands that pain that you're going through. We then can move into a place of physical illness, and that could be psychosomatic. You go to the doctor and nothing is detected, everything is normal, but you have this headache, you have aches, you have pains, you have a heaviness that you just can't describe or really pinpoint where it is. We can then go into a panic and anxiety, because that's almost like this sort of coming apart and not knowing how we can reconnect with ourselves because of the absence of somebody who was like our first love. Then we move into a place of anger and hostility, a real misunderstanding and challenge, because I don't have my mum, but you have yours. How is that fair? You're angry, you're hostile towards others, maybe not even openly, but we have this sort of jealousy and envy that we're carrying because they have theirs and I don't have mine, and it's just so unfair. Why me? Why me at this time? And then that moves into a place of guilt, because those aren't nice feelings to harbor and to carry. We move into, which is seen as stage 8, this sort of difficulty resuming normal routine and being able to sort of get back, because by getting back into normal routine, what are we then doing? We're challenging their existence. Did they really matter if I'm able to just get up and go to Carrefour and eat my sake, all of the things which were normal to me? So that's a real struggle, because as much as we need to, can we do it in a way that we're not saying that they weren't or aren't any more important to us? But it's a process that we get back into normal routine, and we reach a place of beginning to start to feel hopeful, this hopefulness that things don't need to be as heavy. We're not going to get over it completely, but the heaviness is lifting. This hopefulness of knowing that I can have a day when I don't cry for long hours, I don't feel really sad, that I can laugh and I can find joy in past stories of being slapped, whether it was that or cooking a favorite meal or sharing a photograph, without sort of being brought to a place of complete distress. And the final stage is looking at sort of acceptance and moving forward. Looking at acceptance, not necessarily feeling that it is accepted, thinking about acceptance, what that might look like, and being able to move forward and not feel this weight of sadness. You know, this shattered heart, this shattered grief is kind of beginning to come together with cracks and not with all the pieces back in place, but it's starting to feel a bit, the pain is shifting, because we have to look at this grief it's a physical pain. It's a physical pain. It's a loss that is something that is heartfelt and sorrowful, you know, and I'm sure that a lot of the audience here today can attest to that it's a physical pain, and we can't discount that we will ever fully recover, but we will find a way to manage it. And to have events like this, Lorraine, to be able to celebrate is so important, because then you're getting in touch with your grief. You're knowing that there are others out there who have experienced something similar, not necessarily the same, but somebody out there can say, yeah, I can understand a little bit how what you're going through, because they have experienced it. And a lot of this may be difficult even for those who have mothers where their relationship wasn't great. You know, we assume that those relationships with mums are the pinnacle and the standard of relationships, but maybe somebody suffered at the hands of their mum, that, you know, they missed out on what they would have wanted in the relationship with their mother. But yet when their mother passes, what they're mourning is the loss of a relationship that they would have wanted. So grief comes in many ways. It could be the loss of a relationship that was loving, that was kind, that was nurturing, or what wasn't that, but what they would have wanted in that relationship with their mum. So, you know, we have to be quite tender when we're thinking about grief and the loss of a mother, because the way we mourn is very different.
Wow. Thank you so much, Julie. And there's just so many things that you said there, I think, that touch, I've got to confess, even myself, as I go through my own mourning, and it is a continuous thing. But I'm very much reminded of something which I'd love to share with you very quickly as we go into our next speaker. And it's I don't know if I'm able to share my screen, yes, but I wanted to share this image, which is based on the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery, and the idea that they don't hide the crack, or they don't try and return it to perfect, or they don't try and reconstruct it, but indeed infuse those cracks and put back those broken pieces with gold and with silver, and very often with really highlight them and celebrate the breaks or what we might call the damage, making the pot not just more beautiful, but even more precious. And that perhaps this moment of mourning and these times when we feel like there's a huge loss, and there is, sorry, I'm choking up now, but that huge loss is that insertion, or that opportunity for the insertion of light into that space that is broken within us, into that space that is void within us. So thank you so much for that. And perhaps if it helps someone to just use this and have this as an imagery of what might actually be happening for you when you allow yourself to go through the mourning period, and when you allow for the light that is the angel wings that your mother now has to shine through in your vulnerability, and be courageous enough to allow that to shine through. Thank you so much for that, Julie. And for all
one thing, Renee, just one thing. I know I'm at time. What
well, what I want to tell you is that we will circle back to everyone, but go ahead and share it if it's very short for now.
It is just a short verse which says, "If roses grow in heaven, Lord, please pick a bunch for me. Place them in my mother's arms and tell her they're from me. Tell her I love her and miss her, and when she turns to smile, place a kiss upon her cheek and hold her for a while. Because remembering her is easy, I do it every day, but there's an ache within my heart that will never go away." Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. And thank you very, very much for that. Thank you for that. And for each of the speakers, we're going to circle back. Like I said, this is just a taster and an opportunity to just open up the floor and have conversations that can really allow us to be vulnerable, to be open, to be truthful, and to share together this unique experience that we've had, that, you know, not many, thankfully, are going through right now, but we know that it's increasing in number, and to provide that space where we can celebrate moms who have taken on their angel wings. Let's see, well, our next speaker, and oh, I've got a bit of a treat for you, so hang in there. Oh, this is excellent. Thank you, Lorraine. Lorraine's just sent me a wonderful message. I'm going to share it in a short while. But in keeping with that, I think I want to introduce or allow to come onto the floor Dr. Gladys Muiti. Oh, Dr. Gladys, so many things for us to talk about on legacy, on the legacy left behind by our mothers, but on the legacy that we carry forward too, knowing that as parents, mothers, fathers, carers, one day, perhaps this are the kind of things that we should be thinking about in terms of legacy for our own children. Dr. Muiti, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so honored to be here. So much has already happened, and I feel like a lot has been said. Maybe we should just pray and go home. This has been so rich. Thank you so much, Lorraine, and thank you everyone in the team who has made this possible and is making this possible. I want to focus on what really does it mean, what our legacy is all about. And I'm reminded of Paul. Paul himself was a legacy passer. He passed on legacies, deliberate passing on of legacies. And I remember, especially in his mentorship of Timothy, here are the words that he spoke to Timothy, saying, I constantly remember you in my prayers. And he said that I remember your tears, recalling the tears and longing to see you so that I may be filled with joy. I am reminded of your sincere faith, which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice, and I'm persuaded now lives in you also. For this reason, I remind you to fan into flame the gift of God which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. These were the words of Paul. And I want to share 4 points to emphasize what has gone on that I believe Paul is trying to communicate in terms of passing legacies. Point number 1, legacies are passed on, as we've had a lot, through intentional mentoring. Family members, mothers, mentors like Paul. And so I talk of intentional. I'm a psychologist, and lots of time I talk about intentional parenting, where it doesn't just happen, but we deliberately actually intend to be consistent. The word consistency has been spoken a lot today. We intend to be present because mom was there. I'm sure that has struck you. Moms that make a choice to be present, because legacies are not passed on by remote control. They are passed on by presence, intentional, choosing to be there, choosing to stay when we could have gone away. My mother chose to stay. She had a very, very difficult marriage at one point, because my father was a Christian backslid and married someone else. And you'd have wanted my mom to leave, but she chose to stay, intentionally remaining there. And it can be very difficult, but I remember that if it was not my mother, if she did not choose to stay, today I could have been a fourth wife of an old man somewhere. But my mother chose to stay. So intentional, making choices. And then number two, legacies are identified, received, owned, and lived out with passion. Paul says to Timothy, fan the flame. This means that although legacies are passed, they can die like a fire because they're not fed, valued, or grown. One of the things my mother did is she fanned her faith. She blew it into a flame through prayer, through repentance, through forgiveness, through practicing the disciplines of her faith. So fan into flame. That is what Paul told Timothy. So we receive, and then we don't carelessly toss what we received. I love that many of us here are saying, even people present on this forum cared for me. They took care of me, like Marsh, taking care of everyone, cooking for them, entertaining them, because she fanned into flame what her mother left. Point number three, after legacies are identified and owned, they need to be given back to God, laid down at his altar for the laying on of hands. My mother brought me up and modeled her faith, and she taught me to lay my gifts before the altar. I got saved at 7 through her testimony, her prayer life. And as I grew up with her, I learned to constantly go to God. I love Dolly Parton's song that she is an eagle when she flies, but she is like a sparrow when she's broken. Bringing to God that brokenness. And so legacies are owned, and then they are laid at the altar, and they are fanned into a flame. And then finally, as they are lived out, legacies blossom to become part of my life, part of the character of the receiver. And then we also begin to pass them on to other people. So they become like a sweet aroma we received and we pass on. So we are talking today of positive parts of us that we may not even know we are passing on, but we're intentionally walking on the road of obedience. And the Lord uses us as an aroma, intentional, realizing that we are in the world for a purpose. We live out our purpose. We model that purpose, and remember that actually someone has said that a legacy is not what we leave with people. A legacy is what we leave in people. A legacy is what we leave in people. So as I wind up, charm is deceptive, says Proverbs, that 130. Charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. May the Lord help us to pass on intentional legacies, received and fanned into a flame, laid down at the altar, and then practicing deliberately, choosing to practice what you have received so that they become part of our character, and you automatically smell out as an aroma to those that we live with. God bless you, and may we continue to enjoy this powerful, wonderful space. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Gladys, and thank you for your intervention, for your thoughts, and for the sharing and the depth of it. Really, I'm beginning to see the questions, so we're going to circle back. Ruth already speaking to, legacies can die, but we'll have an opportunity to really circle back to all of the speakers. We have one more speaker before I really open up the floor to you so that we can really interact to all of us. And this, of course, is to Reverend Ondachi. Reverend Ondachi, I think of each one I have attempted to celebrate your mothers. If there is a woman who sees beauty in all things, if there's a woman who encourages, or whose vision for her children was that they be, and they continue to be, everything that they possibly could be, I think Edward Ondachi's mother would definitely be at the top of the class and right at the front. Artist, creative, pastor, heart from about right there until just where his knees reach. I suspect a lot of this is a result and the direct result of his mother. Dr. Ondachi, Reverend Ondachi, the question for you, or I think the opportunity for you is, before we open up, nourish our hearts as we celebrate our mothers. Please, Reverend.
Thank you very much, Renee. Guys, I'm feeling so emotional. I came here feeling like a super mosh, feeling really strong. But all these stories about moms, it's just really doing something to me. I'm feeling very giddy and emotional. Thank you, Dr. Muiti. I mean, it's a bit unfair for you to pick me to speak after Dr. Muiti. I mean, this woman has so much of my respect. Dr. Muiti is the kind of person, she speaks and then everyone has to go home, because that is really deep. I really appreciate everything I've had till now. Julie, thank you so much for taking us through grief. I lost my mom 27 years ago, and I dreamt of my mom up to last week. I was thinking of her and the effect that she had on all of our 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. And you're right, Renee, my mother is the single most influential figure in my world. And I don't know what exactly you meant by nourishment, but perhaps I could share a little bit of my own story with my mother in the 4 minutes that I've been given. But also maybe just share about what it means for a man to lose a mom. I lost both my parents, my dad after my mom. And when we lost dad, I felt a sense of duty to step up on the plate and now to take dad's place. It was a very manly thing I felt. It wasn't as emotional as losing mom. I lost mom in 1994, 8th of November. It was a Tuesday. And for a man to lose a mom is huge, perhaps because people assume that you should be strong. But really, moms are our first girlfriends. They are the first people we learn to spoil. Losing mom is seriously emotional. You could hear Dr. Wale talking about it like it happened yesterday. And it's a very different ball game. It is like losing more than a lover. It's not something you ever get over. I have tried it, but it doesn't work. And I think about mom really every week. I just want to speak briefly about the Bible and mothers. I once wrote a paper on all the mothers in the Bible. And what I want to share maybe is from there, because it's so true for me. I can tell you for a truth that my phone log has got a list of 107 pastors. And a lot of them are my pals. And I'll tell you that every pastor I know who is a great pastor, including Dr. Wale, were very close to their mothers. It is our moms who teach us to love people. It's our mothers who teach us about emotions, that it's okay to cry. It is moms who teach us about women and how to be sensitive to women. And for me, certainly that came from mom. And being close to mom, my mom was the first person who called me pastor. She's the very first person when she saw me leading prayers in the house. And I really believe that that can be true. I also know, and you can research it because I have done, everywhere in the Bible where you find the legacy of anyone being traced, any king who the Bible says, and his mother's name was, that became a good king. Guarantee, good king. There was no guarantee that you'd be a great king if you're close to your dad. David's sons became scoundrels, though David was a king. Hezekiah had a son called Manasseh. He was a terrible king. There's no guarantee when the line follows men. But when God wanted a king to be great, he made him close to his mom. Moses' mother, Jochebed, was the one given to take care of Moses when he was fished from the Nile. And when Moses needed to remember his people, it is his mother who taught him the tradition of the Hebrews. And I'm just trying to say that I've been told that we love our wives and our sweethearts the most, but a man will definitely love his mother the longest. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. If I was to nourish anyone's heart today, I would probably follow on what Julie said earlier. Don't try to forget, because what I have tried to do often is, whenever I have attempted to forget mom, I felt like I was losing something. But when I constantly talk about my mother, even to our sons, my spirit is refreshed. And what Julie has helped me to do this afternoon is to not try to replace that memory, not try to remove mom from my world, because I keep telling myself, you should grow up. You know, you're 52 now, you lost mom when you were 24. You really should move on. But it doesn't work, because every lesson, those slaps Pastor Wale is talking about, those being pinched, being beaten with shoes and kicks, eventually we come to quote our moms. We come to say, you know, my mother said this. And let me finish with this quote. My mother, she had these 5 boys, rough boys. My mother brought us up with just about nearly everything. I mean, mom was 2 tigers and 3 lionesses in one person. And I was telling my sons, you know, my mom was Kali. I mean, you wouldn't joke with my mom because they never got to meet my mom. And my sons were telling me that your mom had nothing on our mom. I mean, our mom is 10 lionesses and 6 tigers. And I think compared to our mom, I say, you're talking about my wife. They say, yeah, she's our mom. I mean, she's the Kaliest person we know. And then my sons told me the other day, Dad, you don't know mom. You know, like I don't know her like they know her, you know. But I just want to say, thank you for this forum. It has really, really ignited in me emotions I never thought I had. I'm feeling much more liberated to continue to love my mother and to continue to make her legacy real. And if there's any gift, if I cannot imagine anything that would be worse in my life today than for my sons to lose their mother. I think that would be, I would not know where to begin. It would be the hardest thing. I've told my wife, it would be better if I went first, because if she did, I'd be completely lost and messed up. To nourish our hearts, let me just say, don't try to forget mom. It won't work. Keep her memory alive. Talk about her all the time, because moms always make you better, dead or alive. They're here, and they are here to stay. Thank you so much. God bless you.
What more? Sorry, it's that moment when I ask the it's that moment when I ask the Mithali, can you hear me? Thumbs up if you can, thumbs down if you can't. Excellent, okay, good. I see some thumbs up. What more can we say apart from amen, Edward? Just thank you so very much for that. So I asked that you just put in some comments on what you remember about your mom, or because your mom was here. But I want to circle around to questions and comments again, and to start with our very first speaker and to celebrate them. Acknowledging something that Josephine has said, 16 years on, and the pain never quite goes away. You just learn to live with it, choosing to honor her legacy each day by living purposefully. What a beautiful, beautiful statement to make. And thank you for those of us who are still going through the grief to understand that it's really a question of perhaps just putting gold and light in the cracks and the spaces and the voids that have been left by the absence of this such pivotal human being. I think of my own mother, having lost my father when I was just under 3 years of age. This woman was not just my mother, and she was also my father, having chosen not to remarry again. And so 2020 felt like I had lost two parents and not one. I don't know if there's any of you who are like that, who felt, gosh, I'm an orphan. And I think you're never old enough to be able to lose a parent, especially a mother. But so many things that you're celebrating. Jacqueline Kibis is saying, because mom was here, I learned to be calm, even when things are tough. Beautiful. Doris Momobo, I am prayerful and more hospitable because mom was here. Oh my goodness, such beautiful, beautiful statements. I'm just going to pick a number more. Angie saying, I've learned to love my daughter more deeply and patiently because mom was here. And Bella, because my mom was here, I learned we are strong and capable of doing anything we set our minds on. She taught us to love unconditionally and give with an open heart. Dr. Wale, I don't know if you are, let me see, I want to zero in on you with one of the first questions. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to open the opportunity for you to just speak directly to our speakers. And I'm just going to ask that even as we do, type in the questions in the chat so that we can pick them and set them to our speakers, that you allow yourself to be completely open, to be completely vulnerable, to be courageous enough to ask the questions that you need, to make the statements that you need to, in order for us to just process this even after we're celebrating them. Dr. Wale, you speak a lot on the subject of transformation. And you speak a lot on the business of oneself, of dealing with oneself and bringing oneself to their highest potential. For those whose mothers have transitioned, but who indeed did not have a good relationship with their mother, who are struggling to have closure, because I think it's only right that we be real about these things, and that, you know, it's not always an easy relationship to have with every single parent. How do we transform that relationship or that situation, even though there has been this finality that has come between it in the physical world, so that we can transform what is unfinished business, in quotes, to closure, to transformation, to growth beyond the grave, as it were? Dr. Wale, I'll give you about 2 minutes and then we'll circle around with some other questions.
Thank you so much. You know, for everybody, we can think of things that will make us happy, and we can think of things that will make us upset or angry. There are things I think of about my mom. When I think of the slaps, I wasn't happy, but then, hey, it worked. Now, I think of other things that she did. It was, we're just boys, 3 boys. And, you know, my parents were okay. So they had housemates, they had all these things. But my mom insisted we had to clear the table, wash dishes, wash our clothes. And I said, but mom, you have people. She said, they're working for me. I don't know if you'll be able to afford maids when you grow up. So, you know, now, so what I'm saying is there were those things, there were things I could think of. Anybody that came to the house had to eat, you know, and I've imbibed those things. So what am I saying? No matter, I mean, there's the saying that a broken clock is correct twice a day, you know. So no matter what, I think if we will focus on the positive side, even if it is, oh, she had beautiful white teeth. If that's the only thing you can remember, or the only good thing you can say, focus on that. You will find out that it begins to change something in you towards her. And that will help, you know, to get you in a better state. I hope I have answered that.
That's beautiful. Focus on the one thing that you can. And indeed, where focus goes, energy flows.
Absolutely.
And we get to recreate our stories every single day and to pick which stories matter to us. Steve, where you're in Australia, experiencing a thunderstorm. Well, what do you know? We're about to experience one here when I look out my own window. But you have a beautiful, beautiful quote that you've sent through, Lorraine. You say, you're half a world away and very different culture, but our moms mean exactly the same to us. Isn't that amazing how universal this conversation is, how global, how it unites all of us? And indeed, that the celebration, the culture, the expression might be different, but the love is the same. The desire is the same. The strength is the same. The weaknesses are the same. The loss, the grief, it's really the same. And I want to check in if Dr. Pete Odera is now here. Is Dr. Pete here? And Lorraine, if you could just let me know if Pete is here.
Yeah, he'll give us a thumbs up immediately he logs in.
Excellent. Okay, as we wait for him to log in, I'm taking questions, and Margaret Kyoko is asking, how do you deal with that feeling of feeling vulnerable because she is no more? Mash, Mildred, how do you deal with that feeling of vulnerability, of feeling vulnerable because she is no more?
Yeah, thanks, Renee. Like I said, Mom was fully expressional. So when it was time to cry, she would say, let us cry. Mommy, come, we cry, and we would pick up on the momentum. So times of vulnerability, I don't feel I need to be ashamed about any of those times. I cry when I have to cry. And I know my husband says, you always seem like you have a bucket somewhere stashed and you're told switch on Mash and you go on crying. So when you're vulnerable, I say, let it out, let it out. Don't let things stay in suppressed in you. Release and release as much as you can. But remember to always have someone who you could always go back to. Like I say, always have a good go-to person, whoever that may be for you. That's what I would say.
Wow, that's excellent. And I want to bring this round to Julie, and just taking off of the comment that Ilis Tuta, have I said that right? Has said, and Ashley, no, not to Julie. Let me direct this to you, Reverend Ondachi, saying, I miss my mom to date. I lost her when I was in kindergarten. Life was very dark and I lacked meaning. She's still in my heart. And I want to ask you, Reverend Ondachi, how do we transition the darkness? How do we create new meaning from the loss? It's a little bit perhaps like the question of Wale, that went to Dr. Wale. How do we create new meaning? And especially, how do we restore our spirits from that question of, Lord, why? Why her? Why the loss? Why now? How do we restore that?
I felt that giving that question so much justice, and it helped me to finally appreciate that.
We can't hear you, Reverend Ondachi.
I want to check if everyone can hear.
We can't hear you.
Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, now you're back.
All right. Thank you very much. I said that I thought that Julie handled this really well because of how much it has helped me to find meaning as I move on. I think the first one is, the more we try to forget and suppress that memory by trying to move on and forget and replace and live life as we know it to be normal, the worse it becomes, because then we really are hustled by the guilt of it. But I think that as the question said that she lost her mom when she was in kindergarten, for me it was 27 years ago. And I have felt sometimes guilty, thinking that I'm a grown man and here I am talking about my mom all the time. But what I realize now is that it is vain to try and forget. There's no there's no help trying to forget it or suppress it. There's greater benefit celebrating that memory and accepting that there is nothing any of us could have done to prevent our mom's transitioning to heaven. There is nothing anyone could have done. But rather, when I pick out the attributes of my mom and talk about them consistently, I find healing in that. So even though our sons never got to see my mother, my talking about her all the time helps me to heal. And it helps me to see that she is here, she's in my heart, and will continue to be for a very long time. And that's okay, because I used to think that as a man my age, it's not good to be talking about your mom all the time. A lot of men, I think, I don't know either how it is for women, but we don't like to be referred to as mother's boy. You know, it sort of makes you look weak if you say that, you know, you're a mother's boy. But I keep telling myself, what is it that mothers have done to deserve such disparaging? You know, it appears like a weakness to be called a mother's boy. But I think I'm a product of a great person who can be born out of being a mother's boy. But I'm realizing that rather than carry the guilt, is to celebrate the little time we had with mom. Even though it was brief, it really is powerful. Like I think the question was saying she lost her mother in kindergarten. It's just testament to the fact that the person whose womb brought us into this world is quite irreplaceable. It's quite irreplaceable. And we need to celebrate that. And I celebrate it a lot for myself, that it's good, and I will continue to talk about my mom. I guess it is to keep that memory alive. I was telling Lorraine that a lot of us would be celebrating mothers who are alive, and it's great to do that. But to celebrate mothers who have transitioned is what makes this Mother's Day different for so many people. And I celebrate Lorraine for that.
That's excellent and really, really well said. That speaking her name and continuing to speak her name not just keeps her alive, but keeps that relationship alive, and keeps the memory and actually acknowledges the fullness of who it is that we are. Julie, the next question coming to you, but really just celebrating Juma Rogo's mom. Mom taught me the true meaning of sacrifice, that the only life worth living is a life lived for others. Wow. How many of you are seeing your own mom in some of these comments? And Sue saying, rest easy, Mom. I miss you more with each passing day. Thanks, Mom, for being there for us. She loved each of her children in her own way, and she made the woman I am today, tough and strong. I'll never stop missing you, Mom. And Julie, the next question comes to you on the question of dealing with or resolving the feelings of guilt, the feelings of shame, the feelings of anger against or around the transitioning of a mother. How does one deal with these in a way that edifies and raises them? So that's the first question. I'm going to ask you a two-pronged question. The second one is, how does one support either one's children or indeed one's other siblings in finding new meaning in this period of transition? Julie.
I think initially you have to consider that what has occurred is now becoming your new normal. And to support somebody else, initially you have to be selfish, because grief requires you to be selfish, because to support somebody else in loss when you yourself are in need of support is very difficult. You can't fully be there for them at that point, and you're not really meant to. You know, you have to think about, actually, am I able to manage my own emotion in this situation? And siblings, because, you know, interesting when you think about being a sibling, where you are in the lineup matters. If you're the firstborn, there's this assumption that, you know, you will be stronger than the one who was last. Actually, no, you're all equal. There isn't this hierarchy, because grief doesn't know that. It just knows that you've all experienced loss, because you've all had this very individual relationship with this figure, which is mum. So at that point, yes, you can come together and cry, but there shouldn't be this expectation that you carry and support others more than you need the support yourself, because then your process, your grieving process will be delayed. There will be this sort of anger or anxiety or resentments then step in because you weren't given that opportunity or allowed to have this period of mourning. Like maybe siblings have, and dealing with guilt and shame around mourning. That could really be what I hear there is maybe questioning the relationship that was there initially, maybe before they transitioned, and it can be difficult to deal with something to deal with grief when there's been shame or guilt around the relationship with them, because you're struggling with, am I allowed to feel what I'm feeling now, even if it isn't what other people expect me to be feeling at this point, you know? But we've got to realize that in grief, your journey is your own. You know, there aren't any supposed tos with grief. There isn't a set manuscript around grief, that yours is what it is. That yes, other people experience grief and loss of a mum passing on, but what you experience is unique to you, and we shouldn't unpick it, or translate it, or compare it, or no, yours is your own. It's your own journey. Everything that you're experiencing in your journey is what you are meant to be experiencing in your journey, not to sort of feel guilt or shame around whether it's something that seems to have passed quicker than somebody else that you know. No, whatever you're experiencing is yours, and to just go with that process, and what you're feeling is valid. What you're feeling is yours. What you're feeling is to just be respected as your loss, that what you're experiencing from your siblings is okay, and not to take on this sort of shoulder of their grief. No, what you're a child, because, you know, as I said, that the grief doesn't know, there's no sort of time frames around grief. You know, you're losing a child at 70 or a child when you're in kindergarten, it's still loss. You still mourn that person as if you were a child. So it's just to take it as something that doesn't have necessarily all the answers as well. So, you know, once again, really be kind to yourself during this process.
I think we can't overemphasize that. Be kind to yourself, and be where it is that you are, is where what I'm hearing for all of the speaker. Ramona, celebrating your mom. Because mom was here, I learned how to save, and invest heavily. Exclamation marks all round. She was in a total of, get this, 18 chamas and sacos. When she gained her angel wings, there was no need for contributions to cater for her departure. Everything fell into place financially, which is a burden that many of us carry. And Mama Ramona was on point with that one. And she says, we greatly miss her presence, unending love, and the positive energy she brought into a room whenever she walked. Thank you so much for that lovely share. But I want to ask Dr. Gladys, before we go to Dr. Pete's performance, I want to ask Dr. Gladys on the issue of legacy. What about when the legacy brings not people together, but tears people apart? Where our mothers, as enterprising as Ramona's mom is, and indeed so many of our mothers alive or transitioned, have put together chamas, more chamas, you know, lots of different things, and they've got little shambas. They've even perhaps in some cases written wills. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't written your will, let me put on my lawyer hat for 2 seconds and say, write your will in your mother's voice, no less. So just translate what I've said into however she would say it in your mother's voice. Wandike, I'm not very sure what will is in Swahili. You know, carry some Dr. Wale Mummy slaps if you need to, because it makes such a difference. But Dr. Gladys, what happens when that legacy brings strife in the family? How do we deal with it in a way that ensures that there's justice and equality, but also that does not fragment the family to pieces? Or indeed, should we just let us break up because mom is no longer here and maybe she was the glue that was holding us together? Some of your thoughts, please, and then we'll go directly to Dr. Pete.
That's a very, very important question. And we could not have ended today without looking at splits that can happen when loved ones depart. Indeed, we have heard of families that are still in courts of law years after parents left. There is always something that can happen just to blow that memory, where some people are celebrating that mama slept, she had a high hand, and now she's gone, I can be free, and so on and so forth. First and foremost, I think it's Pastor Daju who said that, remember, there is always something positive. So let me begin with a positive way. As far as is possible, putting aside whatever is causing this plate. Maybe what is causing the plate is property. Maybe she loved some people more than others. Maybe she left wounds that were never healed, relationships that were never mended. Now, we can choose still to remember. First point, there's something that we call memorializing in psychology, deliberately choosing to remember, where the family comes together. Tell people, okay, money aside, anger aside, and whatever, let's get together and spend some time talking of the positive things our mother did. Now, some will come, some will not come, but create a scratchbook, create an album where you put down pictures of happy moments in that family. Surely there were weddings, surely there were births of new babies, surely there was this or the other. So plant some seed of unity where you're not coming to talk about money or property. You still want to remember our mother in positive ways. So can we remember what she did for us? So memorializing, deliberately choosing to remember. And then it may fall on some of us who are Christians to actually begin a reconciliation process, because there must be people she has hurt and she has wounded, without going to the court of law, maybe to fight about property. Remember we said property comes and property goes, but what has been left inside our hearts stays forever. So can we deliberately choose actually to reconcile, to talk about what it is that separated us, and to find someone who can actually sit with us. I remember, one of the things that I've done, and we do at Oasis Africa often, is sit with grieving families where there's been a lot of pain. What do you do if your mother committed suicide and she left a note that she committed suicide because of one of you? Oh my gosh. So we sit with families like those and take them through healing. Because where there is healing from the pain that is causing the infighting, when people actually begin to address the healing process, then they find that they can deal with issues that are separating them. And I know with one family, we sat for several sessions before one of the sons, who never spoke a word from the beginning, just broke out, final session, and started talking about his pain. For him, he didn't just talk about his mother when committing suicide. He went to his father to say, we didn't even mourn our dad who passed earlier on, and we are still carrying stuff in our hearts that separated us as a family. So get professional help if it doesn't seem as if we can work together. So begin with the soft issues, things of the heart, celebrating. Go on to forgiveness and reconciliation. And if you can't reconcile on your own, bring in someone to help you. And if it is necessary, bring in a psychologist, a therapist to sit with you over several sessions. Now, some people still be on the periphery, on the tangent, outside. Leave them there and pray for them. Do not rule out anyone, because there must be a reason why they feel they cannot forgive, they cannot let go of the pain. And then eventually draw them in with time. It may take many years before the straying brother, the sister who went away, comes back, because whether we like it or not, there is a longing for home in the heart of every prodigal who leaves home. So basically celebrate and then engage the situation, get professional help if you must be. And let's remember, money should never ever separate us, because money will go, but what remains in the heart stays forever. It's not what we get from outside, but what is within us that keeps us passing legacies into the days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gladys, and for that really practical and very honest assessment of some of the situations that we are left behind, because I think it's you're right. It's not all hunky-dory for everyone. We all know that family situations can be very complicated. What a discussion. What a discussion it is. And thank you to everyone who's in the chat and really celebrating Lorraine and celebrating all of our speakers and this opportunity, this Mother's Day, to celebrate our mothers who have transitioned into angel wings. I want to bring now Dr. Pete Odera. Pete, I must say that I gossiped a little bit about you behind your back, clearly, since you weren't here. And I said what I do know about your mother. And so I won't repeat all of it. I'm afraid you're just going to have to come and see me and you'll find out what I said.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
If there is a beautiful woman who could nurture creativity and who did not count 3 as the number of children she had, whoever was coming through the house was the child, and she was very good. Here's another thing about Pete's mom, is being very good at asking, why haven't you come to see me yet? And difficult questions of that nature, which would make you go, auntie.
Right.
But before we go into the beautiful presentation by Dr. Pete, let us celebrate a few more moms with one of our videos, and then directly from the video to Dr. Pete. Please, Lorraine, go ahead.
Keep it inside. You're the driving force in my life. Yeah. There isn't anything or anyone that I could be, and it just wouldn't feel right if I didn't have you by my side. Oh, you were there for me to love and care for me when skies were gray. Whenever I was down, you were always there to comfort me. And no one else can be what you have been to me. You will always be, you will always be the girl in my life for all time. Mama, mama, you know I love you. I love you, mama. Mama, you're the queen of my heart. Your love is like tears from the stars. Yes, it is. Mama, I just want you to know loving you is like food to my soul. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, you're always down for me, have always been around for me, even when I was bad. You've shown me right from my wrongs. Yes, you did. And you took up for me when everyone was down on me. You always did understand. You gave me strength to go on. There were so many times looking back when I was so afraid. And then
Thank you, everybody, for having us. This is amazing. That is the exact thing we were going to do. And so we're just going to do our rendition to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. And this is our special dedication by the girls to their mom who's alive, to my mom who's alive, but to the many moms, Renee's mom, who I knew personally, who went and is away, and the many of you who are there. We want to sing just that line of that song. 2, 3, and Mama, Mama, you know I love you. Ooh, you know I love you, Mama. Mama, you're the queen of my heart. Your love is like tears from the stars. Mama, I just want you to know, loving you is like food to my soul. Loving you is like food to my. Loving you is like food to my soul. Yes, it is, and that's our special dedication. We're gonna do one more quick song that's sort of become an anthem, and this is how I actually got involved in this. And this song simply says, I smile. My hope is that it'll bring a smile to your face as we know that our God is truly with us and that we have reason to celebrate. I once met a woman who'd seen life pass by. She'd visited hunger and watched children die. I asked if she still found a reason to smile. Oh, yes, she answered, and I'll tell you why. Let's sing. Oh, yes, she answered, and I'll tell you why. Bodies may die, our bodies may die, but life goes on. Sun is shining after the storm. The Savior will come to carry me home. That is why I still smile. Ooh, that is why I still smile. Ooh, sometimes I ask the Lord, why there's so much pain? Must history repeat itself all over and over again? These things we'll never have. We won't have the answers for this. I'm sure of. This I'm sure. To my heart's core. Ooh, this I'm sure of. This I'm sure. To my heart's core. We say our bodies may die, but life goes on. Ooh, ooh. The Savior will come to carry me home. That is why I still smile. That is why I still smile. One time, bodies may die, life goes on. Ooh, ooh. The Savior will come to carry me. Why I still smile. Why I smile and why I still smile. Someone said, I smile, I smile. Said I smile, I smile. Said I smile, I smile. Said I smile, I smile. The devil is a lie. I smile, I smile, I smile. Said I smile, I smile. Said I smile, I smile. I'm smiling, I'm smiling. Said I smile, I'm smiling. I smile, I'm smiling. I smile, smiling. Smiling in the morning, I'm smiling. Smiling in the evening, smiling. Smiling when it's shining, I'm smiling. Smiling when it's raining, I'm smiling. Smiling with disappointments, I'm smiling. Smiling when I'm blessed, I'm smiling. Smiling in the mountain, I'm smiling. I'm smiling in the valley, I'm smiling. I smile, I'm smiling. I smile, I'm smiling. I smile, I'm smiling. I smile, I'm smiling. I smile. God bless you guys.
Wow.
Wow, Pete. Wow. Thank you so much.
Ariel and Michaela. God bless you guys.
Hiya. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And what better way to celebrate the smiles with celebrating our mums. I know, Lorraine, that you have one other video to celebrate more of our mums. And I know many of you sent us photos of your mothers, but if you did send them last night late or today, sadly, we weren't able to incorporate them. We really want to acknowledge them as well, Lorraine, as we play out our video and then invite our vote of thanks, the speech for the vote of thanks, Lena Dithau. But first, Lorraine, to you for the video.
I remember Mama and the love that she gave. Kneeling by her bedside, I can still hear Mama say, the people are depending on you, Shirley. Don't you let them down. I remember Mama in a happy way. We went to school with holes in our shoes. We didn't have much, but the Lord saw us through. Mama kept the family together, yes we did. I remember Mama in a happy way. She packed our lunch in an old greasy bag. It might seem empty, but it was more than others had. It had a lot of love way down deep inside. Yes, it did. And I remember Mama in a happy way. I remember Mama in a happy way. My mama is sleeping in the bosom of Jesus Christ. Yeah. Somehow I know she's smiling. She's smiling on us right now together. One day I'll see her again. How happy I will be. Yeah. I remember Mama in a happy way. I remember Mama.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Now, I want to ask you a question very quickly and just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, okay? So we've got almost 35 more photos of beautiful, beautiful mums to celebrate. Angels who were cleverly disguised as humans for a short period of time before they regained their angel wings. And I want to ask you, would it be okay if we created a video for the rest of them as well and we celebrated them on our Facebook pages? Would that be okay? Thumbs up? Yes. Yes, I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. Go on the reactions. If your video is not on, a thumbs up or a heart will let me know that the answer is yes. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs up, and we will put everyone's mom there, celebrate it today with photos and not, and share them. And if you come onto the website, onto Facebook, and Lorraine, if you could just type the Facebook page that everyone could come to, you'll find them and you can share them as well. And we will just absolutely celebrate our mothers. Yes? Excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, continuing on with the theme of why I am, because my mom was. Wow, so many things for us to say. The recording, will the recording be available? The answer is Definitely yes. I'm throwing Lorraine a little bit under the bus now because I hadn't asked her this question. But you know what? I'm going to say yes, and we're going to figure it out. Because that's one of the things that my mother taught me is jump, and you will grow your wings on the way down. Either that or you will hit a lot of rocks and you will learn how to fly. One way or the other, you are going to fly. Lessons from my own mother. Now, Wale is asking, can we have a similar event for our dads? Some of us are orphans. I hear you. And I think it would be a wonderful celebration. And Lorraine also saying yes. And so, yes, let's have one for our dads as well. Yes, yes, yes. Such as they were. And we certainly will put that together. Thank you. Doris also saying, I agree with Dr. Wale. That's excellent. To give our vote of thanks this afternoon. So is Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. When Nani? Right, the links to pages and handles. Twitter, it's Life Lorraine. Hey, right, Lorraine, how did you put those two together? Let me say it again, Life Lorraine. Please record that.
I'm from Meru, please don't even try. You know, my actual name is Lorraine.
Ah, Krisha, Lorraine. Don't worry, where I come from, you'd be Lorraine. And on Facebook, it's epic-lorraine-life events. And you can see the links on chat. So if you just check below, you'll be able to see those. Now, our next speaker. Our next speaker must have not just the focus of a man who will not take no for an answer. He has got the patience of Job. Do not let his very sanguine face fool you. If he is going for something, he will get it. Qualities I strongly suspect come from Mama Leonard. You can see today those words were just put, those names were put there so that I could just trip up, but I am determined. So in celebration of today, in celebration of our mothers, in celebration of our speakers, in celebration of our sponsors, in celebration of who we are, because our mothers were past president, friend, and in very many ways, mentor, Leonard Ithal. Karibu. And happy birthday. Belatedly.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Leonard Ithal, a good friend to many of you, a good friend to Lorraine and to Renee. Why am I here? I'm here because my mother transitioned, I think 2.5 years ago. And I need to declare, when Lorraine brought up this event, I was a bit shy and I didn't want to be involved as I am now. And I told Lorraine, okay, I'll give you the picture and everything, but I'll hide in the shadows, so to speak, because discussions on mothers and things about them, I think it really goes to the core of one's humanity. And you feel that it's all going to be exposed. But I think today has been a powerful and celebratory afternoon. And I'm really proud to have been a part of it. My father transitioned over 37 years ago. So you see, my mother played 2 roles and she played them exceptionally. And I think to what was said earlier about mothers being intentional. Mother is not an event that they give birth to us, but they really, once we are born, they make an intention to do something about us and to do something about the world about them. And so I think it's our responsibility to also be intentional like them, to make that decision, both mothers and as fathers, to be intentional to make a difference to our children, because when they do that, we make a difference to our world. So it's important for the mothers that have transitioned that we continue to fan the flames of their legacy of the work that they did, because it was not easy. And that we give support to the mothers, to the fathers now who are being intentional, because we know it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of will, it takes a lot of courage. So my role is quite simple: to thank our God Almighty for giving us these special beings called mothers. I don't know what the plan was, but it was a perfect one. To all the moms gone before us, and now the moms watching us from heaven, we speak your name, and we've spoken your names on this special Mother's Day. To everyone who made this event a success, to Lorraine and Elle for this magnificent idea to celebrate moms in heaven, to the amazing panelists, so many who devoted their time and their minds this afternoon, to DJ Pinye, to the Reverend Pastor Ondachi, to Stanbic, to Madam Sitawa, who I was privileged to be in university with her, to Renee, to Dr. Mwale, to Julie, to Dr. Gladys, and to Mildred. We say thank you, thank you, thank you. To every person and family represented here that shared their mom's pictures and allowed us to celebrate this day. It's what made it real, what made it powerful. To Darshan and Chandari Industries for their gift hampers, to Stanbic for their sponsorship, to Gift Baskets for their amazing baskets for the panelists, to Tamka Art for the graphic design work, the beautiful posters that have been shared out and you have all seen, to MagTech Solutions for the website support, event registration link, ensuring that the backend was well supported, and I think we can attest to that. And lastly, to each and every one of you for making the time and the contribution to being here, to participating in this important event that I hope will be the beginning of a series of such events. And with that, I wish you all a very pleasant afternoon and evening, and a blessed and restful Sunday. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Leonard, for your courage to allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to come onto this call and to spend the afternoon with us and to celebrate your mother. We celebrate you and thank you too. I want to invite Pastor Reverend Ondachi to lead us in a word of prayer. And after he does, we've got one more thing for you, and then we'll log out. So, Reverend Ondachi for the prayer, and then just hang on and have yourselves ready to turn on your cameras or your microphones, because we'll have one last thing in celebration of our mothers. Ondachi, to you.
Thank you so much. Let us pray, everybody. Beloved Father, we are full of thanksgiving to you for giving us such a wonderful time together. It has, for me personally, been more than I imagined it would be, and I can appreciate that it is the same for each and every one of us, not just panelists, but participants and everyone who has joined us from the world over. We praise you because of your goodness. We praise you because of the memories of our moms. We praise you on this 9th of May, such a special Mother's Day. We thank you for the memories you've brought. You've created in us such a sense of gratitude, realizing that for those of us who've lost our moms, perhaps we never really appreciated our moms as much as we should have. But we are grateful that you've given us opportunity to say thank you to them in this forum. We are asking our Father that you'll continue to fill our hearts with that same gratitude to extend it to others who are not here, to celebrate our mothers in the Lord, those who are alive and well today, that we can come and celebrate them and say thank you to them, and perhaps even more appreciate the hard work that all our mothers do and put in to make us who we've become. We're grateful for Lorraine. We thank you for this idea that you planted in our heart. Thank you for our moderator, Renee, doing an excellent professional job putting us together. For all the people who shared in the panel, Father, we are grateful to you for the lessons you've taught us today. And we ask that the memory of what you've shared here today, something somebody said, a song they heard, a poem that they listened to, would live long in our hearts to continue to make this Mother's Day special, not just for today, but in many days to come. Would you be glorified and honored in our lives? We ask it with thanksgiving. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Amen and amen. Now look in your chat. Turn on your cameras and turn on your microphones. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going out celebrating our mothers. You all ready? So here's what we're going to do. Turn them on, turn them on, turn them on. Come on now. Faith. Come on now, Moretti. You too. Carol, McKenna, Grace, Kavaberry, Grace. Where's Samsung S-Lite 2? Turn them on, turn them on, turn them on. Juma. Yeah, I see you all. You know I see you. Now here's what we're gonna do, okay? All together, and I've typed it down on the chat. For giving me life and for everything you taught me, I celebrate you, my angel mom, and then say her name. All of them, Majina M-Pesa, all of them, Majina ID, including the one that she was called at home, okay? So all together now, turn your microphones on because we're gonna yell out, we're gonna celebrate our moms, okay? Turn your mics on, don't worry about where you are, these are COVID times, man. We are wherever we are, including on our beds with headscarves, wherever we are, it's just fine. So turn them on, turn them on, Rose, turn ready? It's gonna be a hot mess, but we're gonna make it happen. 1, 2, 3. For giving me life.
Everything you taught me.
Celebrate you, my angel mom. Adero.
Great you, mom.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be blessed, be honored. Let's celebrate our speakers. We celebrate you. And most importantly, we celebrate our moms here or having gained their angel wings. Remember the vases that we are and the cracks that we have allow the light to shine through. Blessed Sunday.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Deep bow.
Bye.
Bow. Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Come and see.
Where's that little one? Come and say bye. Bye, little one. Bye, little one.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Jim Gige.
Bye, Renee. It was nice seeing you again.
It was lovely to see you, Rose.
Okay, bye-bye. I salute you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Christine.
Bye, Lorraine.
Thank you,
Bye.
Janet.
Thank you, Rose.
Bye, Grace Cababerry. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Hilda.
Thank you,
Angel.
guys.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Violet. Thank you so much, Doris. Thank you, Sue. Oh, Joy. Joy Kirigia, thank you so much. Wing woman. This is the person I want flying next to me. Woo-hoo.
Yes, she came through.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheldon.
Thank you, Renee. You are awesome.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Oh, thank you, Lorraine. We honor you, we love you, respect you. Thank you for trusting. Thank you for believing. Thank you for taking a crazy idea and making it happen.
Thank you, honey. Thank you, everybody. All right.